invitation. Very excited to be having Hanley here from Edward Jones, and I'm going to let you take it away, Hanley.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me to speak today, especially right after the Booth Expo. I just had such a great time connecting with a lot of students and members of the group. So really appreciate you having me here today. I am Hanley Phelan Hartle from Edward Jones. I am the university recruiter for our undergraduate home office program. So excited to meet with you guys today and just to go through kind of an overview of Edward Jones as a whole, our university recruiting opportunities that we have, and then kind of how to apply if you're interested. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off and share my screen. And if you can just let me know, can you see the slide deck from the beginning? Does that look good, Brian?
Perfect.
Can you see my first slide?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, wonderful. So again, my name is Hanley Hartle. I am here with Edward Jones today, speaking to you a little bit about who is Edward Jones, as well as our home office university program opportunities. Then I'll go into a bit of a deep dive into one of our specific divisions, our service division, where we do have a lot of opportunities currently in the university space. And then I will wrap up by talking about the recruiting details for how to apply, and then we'll open it up for a brief Q&A at the end. So first of all, Edward Jones, who are we? So we are a financial services company. So we specialize in servicing individual investors with meeting their long-term financial goals. So how do we do that? What do we do in the process? And what does it look like working here? So, the financial services company, a lot of different companies have a lot of kind of venues and avenues, but with Edward Jones, we really specialize with one kind of area of expertise, which is servicing individual investors with meeting their long-term financial goals. So we take a very personal approach to managing, the financial advising process by building long-term financial relationships with our 7 million plus clients across the country. And we provide recommendations and guidance on investment strategies to assist our clients as they are working towards these long-term financial goals. So kind of three of the main things that kind of stand out with Edward Jones, I would say, are number one, our long-term investment strategy. So in the modern day and age, it might not be super appealing to every investor, but it is really a kind of tried and true way that we've conducted business over the past 100 years, which is a really long-term investment strategy. So our financial advisors, meet with our clients and ask them about their long-term goals. What do you want to, what are you saving for? Is it retirement? Is it for your children's education? Is it because you want to buy another house? Whatever it may be. And so it's a very conservative business model and strategy that we use that is a long-term process. Number two, kind of one of our core competencies and one of our core values is putting the client first. So I'll speak a little bit about our business model in the next few slides here, but one thing that I will call out is that whether it is a financial advisor working directly with our clients or somebody in the home office who might be, supporting everything that's going on out in the branches, we really focus on putting the client first in everything that we do. And that really rolls out into kind of what it feels like to be an associate working here. So, it's kind of a number three, a culture of caring. So as an employee here, as you're working, we are very client-centric, we're very client-oriented, which kind of makes us service-oriented in the same sense. So you kind of have a feeling when you're here about being a part of a team that really is valuing client experience. So to me, that's one of my favorite parts about working here. And then the third piece, the culture of caring. So I like to call out that we are a private organization. So that is a unique thing about Edward Jones as well. We're a private company. So it really facilitates this culture of caring, this environment of really feeling like even though it's a very large company, you really feel like it is kind of a family and that small company feel. So really strong culture of caring, which you'll hear throughout my presentation, just little hints of that. And excited to just kind of tell you a little bit more about the company. So these are just some of our awards and accolades. I wouldn't be a recruiter if I didn't give a little bit of a shameless plug about Edward Jones and how great it is to work here. So these are some of the accolades that we've received over the past year. They are listed on our career site, but kind of one of the ones that stands out to me is the 2020 Best Workplaces for Women. So being in a predominantly, male-driven industry in the financial services industry, Edward Jones has made a lot of strides to inclusive hiring as it relates to all sorts of backgrounds of individuals from diverse backgrounds, whether it be ethnicity, race, gender, all sorts of different types of practices that we're kind of rolling out within the recruiting space to really focus on promoting inclusive hiring as well as inclusive practices for once individuals are working here. So really proud to share this slide that there are quite a few prestigious organizations that have acknowledged Edward Jones for that. So a little bit about Edward Jones and our structure. So I said I would get to this. So we do have like a unique business model as it relates to the financial services industry. So we have our branch offices where our financial advisors conduct the business with our clients. They are separated from our home office. So our business model is that we have these individual branch offices all across the country, probably in everyone's city or state that is on this call today. And those typically like in like a strip mall or maybe in a small office building somewhere. That's typically going to be one financial advisor and one branch office administrator. And they really ingrain into our communities, establish very deeply personal relationships with our clients, and really manage that portion of the Edward Jones experience. And then we have our home offices, which we have our largest home office in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I am out of. And then we also have a home office in Tempe, Arizona. And so everything that goes on in the home office is designed to support what takes place in the branch office, which is, our bread and butter. That's, our revenue generator. So again, with that client-centric mentality, the home office is really supporting and servicing the branch offices. So I like to kind of paint this picture when talking about our university opportunities because we are speaking about home office positions today. So if you're interested in becoming a financial advisor or financial planning or financial management, that is kind of a different track where we don't have any university opportunities in that area at this time. So we're really speaking primarily about our home office opportunities here today. So Edward Jones, home office opportunities. So we have kind of two main programs that I'll be speaking about today. For those of you who connected with me in the booth, I mentioned this is kind of my area of expertise as it relates to the recruiting opportunities at Edward Jones. But I do work in the recruiting space with other individuals. So if you are interested in maybe a full-time opportunity or something outside of what we speak on today, I would be more than happy to stay connected with you and be a resource for you as you navigate the process for any roles within the home office. So we have our summer internship. So we are currently recruiting for next summer, 2022. This is going to be an in-person 10-week development program that is designed for sophomore and junior students that will take place at our corporate headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri. And we do have a few positions out of our Tempe, Arizona office as well. So the past 2 summers we have been virtual, but really the program has taken place in person in the past. And we are planning to be in person next summer. So we would be in the St. Louis office is kind of what we're speaking about today. So our summer internship in the undergrad space, this is an opportunity for students to join a cohort of 30 individuals as a member of our summer internship cohort. And as a part of that cohort, you will attend weekly meetings with the program leader. You'll participate in networking and mentorship opportunities. And then you'll have project work that you're working on. So the positions that we have posted are division specific. And I'll get into some of these details as well. I know this could be very overwhelming and a lot of information. So again, I want to let you know that I'm more than happy to partner with you or answer any questions that you might have after this presentation as it relates to these opportunities. But so you would be decked to a specific division. And in 2 slides, I have those divisions listed out. But some of those areas would include human resources, finance, technology, service, operations, and a few other. And so the work that you'll be doing will be a project that you'll be working on from start to finish throughout the summer. And you do have an opportunity to present to your group and to your cohort and business area stakeholders at the end of summer. So really wonderful opportunity. You get meaningful experience in both project and core work, being a part of a cohort, lots of development opportunities. And this is what we are currently recruiting for. One caveat is that you must be returning to school the fall of 2022. So our internship is designed for students who are returning to school. The reason being that these are programs that we do target to hire people on long term. So at the end of the summer, we will give you an opportunity to express interest in either a return internship position. So if you're a sophomore and you will be a junior the following summer, you can interview for another internship position, or we give you a chance to interview for a full-time position. So if you are a junior right now, next summer you'd be going into your senior year, and we'll give you an opportunity to interview for our full-time rotational development program, which is my next slide. But just want to kind of say that is another perk of working in the summer internship, is kind of a direct, a direct correlation to an opportunity to connect to our full-time program. That's our internship. And I will open up for questions at the end as well. So I'm just going to keep moving through the presentation, but we will get questions at the end here. So we also have a full-time rotational program. So as you're navigating, full-time opportunities, internships, things like that, you might be interested in something that is that gives you a lot of different dynamic experience, and that's what our rotational program is. So this is for students who are completing their senior year of college. The RDP program provides a 12-month cross-training experience that allows individuals to rotate through multiple divisions of the firm. So the start date is next summer. So for our university programs, we hold positions for recruiting. Typically in other areas, we recruit in real time. So if we have a position posted, we're looking to have someone start as soon as possible. But for our programs, we recruit all throughout the fall and into the spring for a June 27, 2022 start date. You must graduate before then. It is a full-time role, and this will also be a St. Louis-based position. We will have a few opportunities in Tempe as well, but kind of the expectation for the program is that you would relocate for the duration of the program, which is a year. And then with last year and COVID and everything moving virtual, we really have opened up our positions in a big way to really shift and pivot to having a lot of remote-based roles. So if you are, not interested in relocating to St. Louis, which I wouldn't be able to understand if you weren't, why you wouldn't, but really what we're saying is that kind of the expectation is that you would just relocate for the duration of the program. And then if you were interested in a remote opportunity, you could pursue that afterwards. But this program, as well as the internship, operate best in person. So I've kind of been speaking about this throughout the presentation, but Edward Jones is a very collaborative environment, very cultural, strong culture of caring. So these programs, when they're in person, really do operate best because of the networking pieces, the professional development. You're able to, have coffee or lunch or, connect in person with the people that you're networking with. So it really makes it most impactful being in person. So for the RDP program, we have, it's 4 rotations within a year. So it's, kind of a fast-paced program to where you're getting a ton of experience right out of the gates, your first position out of college. The first rotation, the entire cohort is paid to study and obtain their Series 7 and Series 66 licenses. So that is the first rotation. And then you move on after you pass both of those licenses to your other 3 business area rotations. So you are placed into a division, and then you'll have 3 rotations within that area. So I'll just give you an example of human resources, the area that I'm in. Let's say you were an RDP associate that was hired into human resources. You might have a rotation in talent acquisition, where I work doing recruiting. You might have another rotation in associate relations, learning about the ins and outs of that area of human resources. And then maybe your third rotation would be in our compensation area. So working on how do we identify what compensation a position will be listed as. So you get a lot of experience. You'll have different leaders, different teams, heavy development, really, really unique opportunities. So if you're interested in this, definitely would encourage you to apply for this role as well. The things that make a great RDP are leadership experience, interest, professionalism, networking skills, and adapting to change. So adapting to change being kind of the biggest one there, because obviously with the constant rotations, it is a lot to ask of an individual, but it's worth the kind of return on investment for the experience that you'll get in your first year. Okay, so here are the areas where we have interns and RDP associates. So I told you this is kind of a lot of information. So again, hopefully no one is overwhelmed. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have after this. But so we hire for our divisions. We hire positions within our internship and RDP program that are division specific. So I'll just really, really briefly go over these areas. These are posted to our career site, and at the end of the presentation, I'll get into those details. If it doesn't have an X on it, that means we've had interns in that area before. We're just not hosting them next summer, but it does change from year to year. So if we have individuals on the call that might be interested in 2023 or beyond, we might see opportunities in these other areas. But really quickly, so branch development is our kind of like human resources of the branch offices. So those are people that, or that is the area that handles like the coaching and training of our financial advisors, really making sure we have everything in place that the financial advisors need, as they are, all in different states, all different regions of the country. It's kind of the continuity between them all exists within branch development. CSG is our client strategies group area. So this is our investment research area. So for those of you who might be interested in Edward Jones because you love the stock market or econ, or researching investments or products, CSG would be the area for you. And we do have quite a few openings in the internship and the RDP. Finance is more of our core finance area. So that's more of the accounting. It's the area that manages our firm's financials. Human resources, HR, the area that I'm in, I just mentioned a few things that we do, but standard HR positions within the HR division. Technology. So one thing about Edward Jones is we are growing very rapidly in the technology space. Our managing partner, Penny Pennington, one of her biggest initiatives when she joined us in 2019 was to get our technology kind of up competitive with our competitors, because it's just an area that we've really identified that we need to grow in. So if you have an interest in technology, whether it be these programs or not, we have a lot of openings, both full-time and programmatic openings within technology. Service and operations, I'll kind of pair those together. Those are our firm deliverable areas. So they work directly with the branches to kind of keep the ball moving forward, if you will. So service answers phone calls from our financial advisors and our branch office administrators to answer specific questions that they might have, whether it be regulatory, process oriented, things like that. And then operations is kind of like the back end of that. They take care of our processing of documents, checks, reporting, automation, things like that. So if none of these areas particularly stand out to you, if you're more of like just interested in business administration, you might look into service or operations. And actually service is the area I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about what it might look like to be an intern or an RDP associate. Internal audit is an area where we only have interns, so it is self-explanatory. They perform audits of our internal business areas. Very unique opportunity. It's a very small team within Edward Jones, and they are a big, they love the internship program. They love to host interns and just to have that experience. So great opportunity there. And then compliance. So we are a highly regulated industry, being in the financial services industry. So our compliance officers are in charge of making sure that all of our financial advisors and branch office administrators are adhering to compliance. And then lastly, product review. We've had internships there in the past, not this year, but that's an area that is separate. It's kind of similar to that client strategies group, that CSG area, but they're just separated from them. So they do analysis and reviewing of any products that we might offer to our clients. So those are the division areas. And I'll kind of talk a little bit about the service division and kind of what that looks like. As I mentioned, we do have a lot of openings in the service area, and being Edward Jones, we do get a lot of interest in more of our like finance area or client strategies group, those investment heavy areas. But this is an area where we have lots of opportunities, and it's a great place to really get your foot in the door and get some wonderful experience in the financial services industry. So for service, this is the area of the firm that, as I said, works directly with the branches. So at some other companies, if you're working with, let's say you were investing with Edward Jones, they might have you call into a line to answer a question about, let's say you have a question about your account, or you have a question about your tax forms or something like that. At Edward Jones, we would direct these people to call their financial advisor because they have that deeply personal relationship. It's almost like their friend in a way, to really host that individual, really specific and personalized relationship. So the financial advisors actually call into the home office to speak to service specialists to get their questions answered. So whether it be regulatory, some process that's in place at Edward Jones, or what have you, the service area is on the front lines interacting with our branch offices. And kind of the three main components of service is, they have their interactions with the branches, they provide insights on their experiences, and then they do influence kind of the overall processes. So let's say there is a phone line or an area that answers questions about mutual funds. And they just keep getting the same call over and over with an inquiry or a problem. They'll be able to gather those insights and actually influence the system to say, maybe we need to update our communication or our rule or whatever it may be. So they do have a lot of impact on the direct experience of the financial advisors, and the relationship between the home office and the branches. So the mission of service is to lead the firm in the delivery of service excellence to enable and accelerate the branch team and client success. And the vision is to be recognized by the firm as the best service support provider in North America. So it is a unique area to where you are really providing service to an internal customer. And so I think service is a wonderful area to really, get your foot in the door, get some real world experience, and particularly if you're interested in the overall mission and kind of ongoings of Edward Jones, this is a great area to get some real experience kind of early on in your career. An example of some of the roles or projects. So as I mentioned in the internship, you would be decked to a project. So one kind of major project that went on this summer is the redesign of our internal website. So we are migrating to SharePoint. As I mentioned, we're a little behind in our technology at Edward Jones. So we're doing a full overhaul of our SharePoint site. So something that you might do as an intern is be decked to a project to where you're redesigning the entire internal website of your department. So you would be tasked with reaching out to individual stakeholders, getting information, quality checking that information, and then making those updates. So you'll get that experience of, like I said, collaboration, networking, just simply learning how to organize your time. I think that's another thing that people really find at Edward Jones internship is because it is project-based work, you have to, create your own time management. So it's great experience in that as well. You have a project leader that's over the program who is really there to support you and help you navigate that. So it's kind of a safe environment to get that experience because you have, all these people that are really on your side trying to make sure that you have a successful summer, but then you really do get to get that experience. So it's a great opportunity. Some other examples of different projects you might work on would be to create or improve training materials or develop training plans for associates. So again, in the service specific area, they do hire a lot of individuals because there are a lot of opportunities in service. So they're constantly trying to revamp their process, update their training materials, make sure it's relevant and straightforward. And so those are some examples of projects that you might be working on within the service division. And like I said, the other divisions as well, you would have similar projects that would just be more related to the topics in that area. Okay, so kind of to wrap up here, this is a picture of Penny Pennington. She is our managing partner. So as I mentioned, we are we're a private organization, so we do not have a CEO, but rather a managing partner. And it makes me extremely proud to work for Edward Jones that we have a female leader in the financial services industry. Penny is an incredible person. If you ever have a chance to do some research on her, she was a financial advisor herself. She's just a wonderful person. So love to give that shout out whenever giving an overall presentation as well. And then just kind of wrapping up here with, kind of the benefits of working at Edward Jones. There are, as I mentioned, you have an opportunity to interview for a return position at the end of your summer internship. So the internship is a really great opportunity to kind of feed into additional future opportunities. As far as career growth, interns and associates are encouraged to develop at Edward Jones. So we have constant reviews with our leaders. We have a development plan that we're always working on. There are a lot of learnings. There are a lot of opportunities for connecting and promoting your own growth while you're an associate or an intern at the firm. And working with your leader, you can shape your career into what you want. So I know a lot of people are probably just trying to figure out what their first step might be, and I think we're all kind of navigating that as we walk through life. But at Edward Jones, we really are very encouraging of that. Just keeping an open mind and constantly assessing yourself and where you're looking to go. So I think that that's one of my favorite parts about working at Edward Jones is that kind of built-in structure to encourage that growth all the time. And then lastly, job stability. We do focus on risk-averse business practices at Edward Jones, which promote a stable environment for growth. So, last year when COVID happened, we did not have any layoffs at Edward Jones. So that's something that I felt really comfortable with and proud of to be a part of an organization that was really able to navigate a pretty tumultuous time. So those are kind of my last little pitches about Edward Jones. And what it's like to work here. I'll just jump into the final details for recruiting. So if you want to take a snapshot of this, I will also, I'll be reaching out to anyone that connected with me through the booth or expressed interest in Edward Jones, but feel free to reach out to me directly, hanleyphelan@edwardjones.com. Also that Recruiting HQ University, that's our team email box. So feel free to share that as well or to reach out to that email. But we are actively recruiting right now for our internship and RDP positions. So if you go to our career site and search either intern, if you're looking for intern opportunities, or RDP, if you're looking for full-time, they're all posted there right now. And our recruiting process is that we have you submit a resume, and then I will send you an on-demand digital interview to self-record as another part of the screening process. We are conducting our first round of hiring leader interviews next week. So for anyone that's interested, I would encourage you to apply as soon as possible, and we'll hopefully get you in that second round of hiring leader interviews the first week of November. So that is my presentation and everything that I have to share with you today. Appreciate you bearing with me and listening to my my presentation.
Thank you so much, Hanley. We did have a question come into the chat, just asking if there was full-time roles for international students.
Great question. So we are unable to sponsor, unfortunately, and our student programs do feed into full-time roles. So unfortunately, at this time, we're not able to sponsor.
Okay. And then we do have 2 minutes left. If anybody else wants to put questions in the chat, we can sneak them in real quick. Give everybody a couple seconds. Okay, from Zion, could you go back to the slide with the emails? He asked.
I can do that.
I can also put your email in the chat if that would be easier.
Okay, cool. I'll split up too.
Okay, I'm gonna put the email in the chat. Is that what you were looking for from the slide, Zion, or was there some other info?
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, I think that was the info they were looking for. So thank you so much, Hanley. Really appreciate that. And I thought it was a great presentation. Oh, Yeshi has a quick question here. I am a sophomore and I want to apply for the finance internship, but I'm not a finance major. Could I still apply?
Yes, absolutely. You're more than welcome to apply to any position. If you'd like to connect with me, I'd be happy to answer questions and help you navigate that process. It's not a requirement to be a finance major, but just, for awareness, there probably will be candidates that are applying that might have more relevant experience or majors. So not to say you can't apply, but if you are maybe not a designated major, I might recommend more of a service or operations route.
Great. Are there any other questions in the chat before we? Zion asks, which was the best email? Would it be that personal email, correct?
Yes. Yep. The personal email will be perfect.
Yeah. Okay. And then Samantha asked about non-US people, but I think that was answered. I think for now, sponsorship is not something that's included.
Yes, but
Okay.
actually for Canada, we do have a Canadian office. We don't have university programs there, but you can feel free to look up full-time roles out of the Canada office as well.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Perfect. Okay, well, if that is all the questions, I want to just thank you so much, Hanley. I really enjoyed that presentation. I thought it was really great and expansive and a ton of different opportunities at your firm. So please reach out to Hanley if you have any additional questions. Shoot her a message or if you scheduled a one-on-one. And next up, we